Welcome to a new update in this new year, and today in the first one we're going to dive into the price action of Bitcoin. We're going to do a deep dive edition, so I'll be looking at the higher time frames and at the lower time frames, as in the past 24 hours we have been seeing some momentum in the markets, especially the altcoins. Litecoin and Ripple have been moving. For Ripple, it has been dropping and taking liquidity, which we claim to see on Twitter if we were losing 34 cents. Litecoin, I've been trading within the platform, so if you are not a member yet, definitely check out our description beneath, as we are launching copy trading during this month. Also, we are providing 3 trade letters per week. This week's edition starts off by the macroeconomic updates about this week and what's going to happen, the legacy markets, and also a bit about the higher time frame of Bitcoin and Ethereum, as we are getting into a stage where most likely we are going to consolidate, or we have been getting towards the bottom already, and that there is actually some upside potential, which I've been discussing previous updates, in which we said, okay, the entire inflation story and the hikes are most likely going to pause, or inflation is going to drop faster and unemployment starts to accelerate. So we get a window of a few months that the markets might have some relief before the recession starts to kick in. And then we're going to have a final crash before the big bull market starts to happen. So that's what we're looking at here. So let's have a first update on the market, discussing the higher time frame and lower time frame view for Bitcoin. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We will be back with live streams as well on this channel. We are still unsure when we are going to start with those, but I hope that the updates that I'm providing on this channel are already helping you a lot when it comes to the trading of Bitcoin. Now, let's look at the price action of Bitcoin. We can say that we've got a slight green candle on the yearly. Nothing really special, but the most important part is the fact that 16.4k will act as the yearly open. And therefore 16.4 is an important pivot to watch. In that case, if we lose 16.4, probably a fast drop is going to take place, etc., etc. As you can also see that in the previous years, the high at it for 13.8 is an important one to keep an eye on, as we have been closing around it and we have been rejecting that resistance, and it's also getting a lot of attention right now, as people are claiming that 13.8 is probably going to be the bottom of this entire cycle. I'm not too sure. I think that there's still a case of front running things, but ultimately we're still on a downtrend at this point, as also the monthly time frame is looking like we're going to need to break some momentum here to actually gain attention and can continue moving towards the highs. So the resistance we have here at the monthly time frame is the 20.5k level, which, if you start zooming in on the weekly time frame, you can also discuss that that's the block that we need to break. So if we are going to hold the level here at 16.4, which apparently it seems to be the case, then the likelihood of continuing to the upside is going to be significant. So in that case, if we hold 16.4, we are definitely avoiding new lows. And that's why I marked 16.4 as the crucial support earlier. If that was going to be lost, I think that we are into for new lows, and then we're going to look at 13.8. If we won't do that, then the chances of continuing to the upside is significant, especially since altcoins have been crashing so heavily in the past few weeks. Some have been making massive new lows already. Which means that we are getting there. We are getting a lot at the end maybe, and then we get into the stage that we go sideways for a long period before we start to make new all-time highs, which technically speaking could be 3 years after the previous all-time high, which ultimately says 2024, which brings me to the fact that 2019 will most likely be a case where we just go sideways, but still are going to take off the liquidity here. So what have we been doing in 2019? We have been going sideways, started breaking up. Obvious resistance becomes the ultimate short level, which people started to short, and therefore we started to accelerate, through which we take out all the liquidity here, resulting into a test at this block. I'm not too sure whether we're going to see the exact same taking place at this point, given the fact that we've had this retest taking place here already. So I'm not sure that we're going to continue moving towards the all-time high. But what I'm seeing here is that we're getting into a stage where at least 20.5 to 21k is the crucial one. So based on the weekly time frame, this is the crucial block to break. If we do break, we are taking out this liquidity as well, and then we get towards the exact same level as what people are going to use to potentially short the markets. So most likely we're going to do the same when we get there, is the fact that people will start to look for shorts here. I think that this time we're going to have a resistance there, but I think that we grow towards 35 to 40k first to take out the liquidity above this high and then make the reversal downwards. So in essence, if you look at the weekly time frame, the crucial one is 20.5 based on that daily time frame. We can see that we are holding the crucial support here, right? Based on the daily time frame. So this level was 16.4 is holding again. We're also going to see that on the lower time frames. Now we are looking at crucial resistance at 16.9. I think that once we break through that, acceleration will take place. We probably are seeing a hurdle here at 17.8 to 18k. But further, we are into a stage where we are making higher lows and then also possibly higher highs, through which the ultimate resistance and result is going to be 21k. In that case, 16.9 needs to break based on the daily time frame, and 16.9 will then grant you a rally towards 21k. So from a swing trade perspective, it's not the worst option right now to look at a potential position, given the fact that the downside can be limited quite fast. And yes, there's a ton of liquidity which we have beneath us, but we also have a ton of liquidity above us, as people are currently heavily shorting the market still. In that case, entering in these regions, projecting 21k is giving you an upside of 30% already. And in order to have a profitable trade there, like this is 25%, you can also target the high here, which is 26. The downside with the stop is relatively limited, so you can still place a very wide stop and have a risk reward which is highly profitable, as in this case your risk reward is around 5, which means that even if you have a win rate of 30%, you'll still be profitable in the long run. And I think that's the key essence right now. Now, when we're looking at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we've had the sweep here at 16.4. We had a reclaim taking place. So we reclaimed the level at 16.5 and we held there. And now we started to continue running, through which we have been taking out all the liquidity here at the previous highs. Assuming that we might be going towards 16.8, I think that we are kind of done right now and just consolidate before we have the big breakout, ultimately not resulting into resistance at 17.4. I think we clearly break it, but ultimately getting into resistance here at 17.8 to 18k. So looking at a higher low construction here is probably the strategy that you will be looking at, as essentially the levels that we should be holding is still 16.4. But when it goes to the lower time frames, I preferably want to see Bitcoin hold above 16.6. If it's losing there, probably a ton of stops are getting triggered and the entire structure is wrecked. Now, when we're looking at the lower time frames, I mentioned briefly that I preferably wanted to see the case of the retest at 16.5. We had resistance here at 16.6, 16.5 became support as it used to be in the past. Higher low at 16.5.5. Breakout, taking out the liquidity, as you can see here, getting into this block. Flip of the level, which means that people are jumping into the long at 16.6, and that ultimately resulted into continuation, in which we are back into the resistance that we rejected or lost. We lost this support, which is the previous range, rejected here, and now we're getting into a new test again. Given that we've just had such a volatile move, it seems very likely that we're not going to break in one go and have some more tests taking place. If that happens, it grants you access again. But now you can also see that given this flip of 16.6, you technically don't want to see it lose 16.6. Perhaps taking liquidity there and go to 16.5 high might be the case. But ultimately you want to see it hold, because then if another test at 16.8 happens, we take out this liquidity, and then I'm assuming that we're going to have a rally taking place towards 17,050 rather than stopping here at 16.9. And if we get there, you can also start commenting on the higher time frames for Bitcoin. As you see, We got the clear resistance here at the daily time frame at 16.9. Once this is getting taken out, we can see continuation towards 17.8. So ultimately, I think that as long as we hold support levels in this case, we probably are seeing a trend reversal, which means that we can have some more upside momentum, and therefore the risk reward of having long positions is definitely what you are looking for at this point. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new one. Also check out our free trade letter and our premium platform. Have a wonderful day.